Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Cody Kavita. I'm an actress and a voiceover artist here in Los Angeles, California, and I also have 5 chronic illnesses which I manage on a daily basis. Speaking of which, you might have noticed I took a little bitty break from YouTube, and if you follow me over on Instagram, you'll notice that I took a little tiny break over there at some point as well. The reason being, I went home to visit my parents. They live in Fresno, California, which is the Central Valley. It's about 4 hours north of here, and I haven't been able to go home in a while, so I was really excited to finally go home and see them. However, while I was home, one of my 5 conditions decided to flare. And I don't think I've spoken about this condition on my channel yet, but out of all of my conditions, it is for sure the scariest, because if I don't manage a flare properly, I can die. So it was pretty stressful being home, trying to focus and enjoy my time with my parents, but also in the back of my mind thinking, do I need to go to the hospital now or later? Basically, the condition is a condition called mast cell angioedema. It's a pretty complicated one to explain. I will try and put the definition on the screen, and I'll also put some resources for angioedema in the link below, but the easiest way for me to describe it, it's a lot like anaphylaxis, which you might know as the condition where if someone has, say, a peanut allergy and they eat a peanut, their airways swell shut and they can't breathe. Angioedema is very similar. There's a few differences though. With angioedema, sometimes the reaction can be delayed. It can happen up to 8 hours after you come in contact with your allergen, or in some cases it can happen slowly over those 8 hours. And also with angioedema, it's not just your airways that swell, other parts of your body can swell. But of course now it is a week or so later and I'm fine. And as you can tell by the title of this video, it is Thanksgiving. It is the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, and I love Thanksgiving. So that's what I thought I'd do today, take you along as I cook and prep for Thanksgiving. As usual with all of my videos, these tips are specifically geared towards people with chronic illness, but even if you don't have chronic illness, hopefully you find something helpful in here to kind of streamline the process. And also if you just like food, I'm in, let's do it. So grab yourself a snack or a coffee and let's get into it. So the first thing I like to do is create my menu, and my menu can vary depending on how I'm feeling that year. So if I have loads of energy, then sure, I'm gonna do all of the complicated dishes. But of course, if I'm dealing with a year like this year, where I am recovering from flare and I'm pretty tired, then I'm gonna prioritize dishes that don't require as much from me physically. Another thing I like to do is assign dishes to my family members or whoever's going to be joining us for this dinner. In this case, I assigned cornbread stuffing to my mom, and my fiance Till is doing pumpkin pie as well as mashed potatoes. Another thing I love doing is utilizing the drive-up or pick-up option from the various stores that I get my groceries from. This year I did Target as well as Whole Foods, but most stores now offer that option. It has been game-changing for me with chronic illness. I don't know if you experience this, but for me, I can't usually make it through an entire grocery shopping trip. I get way too tired, and then I have to come home and nap for an hour or sometimes 2. But with the drive-up and pickup option, it's really helped streamline everything, take a lot of pressure off of me. That way I can spend more time with my family or rest up before the big day of cooking. So the first side I did was homemade cranberry sauce. It is my favorite side. Now, I know this is controversial. Some people love the canned stuff, and that's cool. You do you, boo. But if you've never had homemade cranberry sauce, or if you've had it and you didn't like it, I encourage you to try this recipe. I'll link it below. You'll notice that it has white sugar as the recipe. I encourage you to use brown sugar. I don't know what it is, it just works better. As you can see though, I am squeezing these oranges myself, and if you watched any of my previous videos, you might know that I have arthritis, and sometimes this task is too difficult for me. So if that were the case, I would either have Till come in and squeeze the oranges for me, or you can just use pre-squeezed orange juice. It's gonna work exactly the same, and you're still gonna get a lovely cranberry sauce. This cranberry sauce in particular is my favorite favorite because it's perfectly sweet. It's the perfect balance of sweet and tart, tang and zest. It is a highlight of my Thanksgiving dinner, not just by me, but my family also. They ask every year if I'm going to be making it. Another thing I love doing when I'm doing a dinner or Thanksgiving is a tray bake. Tray bakes are fantastic, especially if you have chronic illness, because they get all the work done at once. In this instance, I'm doing roast vegetables. Now, my mom loves Brussels sprouts, and I love them too, but I unfortunately can't have them anymore due to one of my chronic conditions. However, for my mom, I will do Brussels sprouts. Now, you see me cutting and prepping the Brussels sprouts here, but you can buy them pre-cut, washed and ready to go. You just throw them on the pan. The same goes for these carrots. These literally came out the bag. I washed them and put them on the tray. I picked the rainbow ones because I think they look extra pretty. Why not? Now you'll notice me putting asparagus on the tray here. I'm not baking this tray today, so everything looks a little crowded. When I bake it tomorrow, I will spread everything out so it has plenty of room to cook evenly. The next thing I did was whip up a quick vegan gravy. I will link this below. Gravy, especially homemade, is actually very easy, so I encourage you to try it. But of course, if you don't have the time or the energy, store-bought is fine. Next, Till made pumpkin pie. Now, funny thing about Till, he is actually from Germany, and there is no German word for pie, so he frequently calls this cake, which I think is absolutely adorable. But you'll see here that he's actually using one of my tips. He's doing a homemade pie, but with store-bought pie crust. I don't know if you've ever watched the show Sandra Lee Semi-Homemade, but I love that show, and I think a lot of her tips can be really useful for people with chronic illness, because there's no shame in doing some elements homemade and some store-bought. You're still going to get the same result. Next, I worked on setting our table, and I love using tablecloths and creating a tablescape. It's a really easy way to customize your event. As you can see, I'm grabbing decor from another part of my house, and this is going on our table. If you watched any of my previous videos, then you'll know that I love using decor that's already in my house for my parties. It's a really easy way to take the extra work off of your shoulders. They're not going to see where this decor piece usually goes because it's in a part of my house that is tucked away. Now, as you can see, I'm wearing a different sweater here. That's because it is Thanksgiving morning and I am setting the table. Now, I could have done this last night, but I have a cat and most of that stuff would have ended up on the floor. So I did it this morning. And another thing I love doing are cloth napkins. Cloth napkins are a really simple way to elevate your event. Now, I'm just doing a simple pocket fold here, but you can really fold your napkin however you'd like. And as you can see, it took me no time at all. And it also creates a really cozy spot for your cutlery. Creating tablescapes, setting a theme, setting a mood, I love doing that for my events because it creates a really warm and inviting atmosphere for our guests. Now, while I was creating my tablescape, I also had my oven preheating at 400 degrees. I then drizzled some olive oil on my veggies, seasoned them, and popped them in for about 20 minutes. The asparagus you gotta keep an eye on because it cooks a little bit faster. Then I moved on to my garlic parmesan corn. Now, as you can see, I am dehusking this corn cob. However, you do not have to do that. You can easily use canned corn. It will work exactly the same. Of course, you toss that in a pan with a butter or oil of your choice, and in my family, we are garlic people. We love garlic. So I chopped up about 6 or 7 cloves of garlic, but of course, if you don't have it in you to mince this garlic, they sell it in a jar. You can totally do that as well. We mixed that in with a little bit more oil into our pan, as well as some Parmesan, and that was it. So that is my Thanksgiving table complete. I am so happy with how everything turned out this year. You might have noticed though, there wasn't a bird featured in this video. That's because only 2 people in my family were eating meat this year, Till and my dad. So what we did was we got a rotisserie chicken from Sprouts. I plated it up really cute and it worked out perfectly. If you have chronic illness or chronic fatigue, I encourage you to modify, customize, do what you need to do to make this meal fit you and your family. Don't do more work if you don't have to. Now, I am stuffed to the gills, but I'd like to say thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it or you found it helpful, please like and subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss when I upload my next video. Thanks again for watching, and happy Thanksgiving!